New information has come out about the Angela Hammond story, and the police want you to know about it and see if you could help them. This is a really mysterious case about this young lady that went missing from Missouri. It's coming up next. So first, let me go over Angela's case a little bit. She is 20 years old when she went missing on April 4th, 1991, and no one has seen her since. This is a really unusual story. It's one of those that will stick with you once you hear it. So she's been missing from Clinton, Missouri since April 4th, 1991. Now, she was last heard from by her boyfriend, Rob Schaefer, who was 18 years old. Angela and Rob were on the phone together when Angela went missing. That's what makes it so different. So Angela was calling from a payphone, and she was in a parking lot at the Food Barn store on Jefferson and 2nd Street. All right. Now, according to her boyfriend, while he was talking to Angela, she brought up the fact that there was a truck that was circling around the phone booth. It was a late model green and white truck, and he pulled up next to her, and she was able to get a good look at the guy, and she said the man was dirty with a white beard and mustache, glasses, and he was wearing overalls. And then Angela was thinking, well, maybe he was waiting to use the phone. So she asked him, do you want to use the phone? And he said no. Now, let me tell you this next part that's in quotes. He used the phone, this is what Rob had to say. He used the phone next to her, got back in his truck, and looked at something with a flashlight. She described the flashlight to me over the phone. He was looking for something. I had her ask him if he needed to use the phone. Maybe the other phone was broken, and he said no, he'd try again in a minute. Then we just talked about other things. We weren't too worried about it, and that's when I heard her scream on the phone. I heard her scream. The only thing that went through my mind was getting up there and finding out what the hell was going on. I just dropped the phone and ran out of the house. I didn't hang the phone back up and just headed up there. That's what Rob said. So that's what he did. He drove to the phone booth, and he saw the Ford truck, and it was speeding away.
I saw a pickup truck going past me, and then somebody yelled out the window, Robbie. That's how I knew it was them.
So Rob heard Angela screaming his name, and he drove his car around and followed the truck. But bad luck, his transmission fell out at that time, and he couldn't go any farther. He couldn't go after the truck. He couldn't do anything. His hands were tied. So I think because of that, Rob was a early suspect in this whole situation. He was the only witness. He was the one that said this was happening, and it's such a strange thing to happen. I mean, you're on the phone, and then your girlfriend gets taken while she's talking on the phone, and you rush up there. You're close enough that you can rush up there to the phone booth to see the kidnapping taking place and the vehicle, but then your car's transmission breaks on you and you can't go any farther. It's one of those, like I said, one of those stories that just sticks out for you. So now let me tell you about the update. This week, 921 News stated that the Clinton Police Department have released information to the public. Now, the police department received this information in 1991, and they never said anything to anybody about it. They said that they are developing a theory after talking with several people of interest and potential witnesses. Now, they believe that Angela being kidnapped was the result of retaliation for a man who testified against this drug ring. This is what they're at. This is where they're at this point in time. So in other words, the information given to the police led to the prosecution of this criminal enterprise. The confidential informant that testified gave them the information that was needed in order for them, the criminal enterprise, to be prosecuted. Fine. But what happened is the confidential informant's name leaked. And now the criminal enterprise knew who this person was. And in turn, they threatened this person. They got a letter, they wrote up a letter, they splashed in, they cut out pieces out of a magazine or a newspaper to make the words for this letter. So not only did they know the confidential informant's number that they used during the trial, they knew what their spouse's name was, and they also knew what their daughter's name was, and their daughter's name was Angela. So now the police believe that the Angela that was taken at the phone booth was a mistake, that they got the wrong Angela. They thought that that was the confidential informant's daughter, but it wasn't. So that's the new information that has come out on this case. Also, what was interesting is the confidential informant lived in Clinton, Missouri, the same town that Angela lived in. So you can take a look at that letter. This is the only photo that I've been able to find of this letter. I was kind of searching through Google to try to find another photograph of this letter so you could compare them or see more of them or actually see more of the letter. But this is the only one that I was able to find, and that comes from 91 News. They're the one that posted it originally. So let me go up to the top here. I've got my notes here. There was one other bit of information I wanted to let you know about. It's the Clinton, Missouri Police Department on their Facebook page. They also posted that they had received an anonymous telephone message regarding Angela's case. And they didn't leave any contact information for the Clinton Police Department to contact them back to. And they really want to talk to this person. They called anonymously, and they say in their post on Facebook that they will make sure that the information is kept anonymous so their name doesn't get let out. If they'll contact them back to give them, so they could talk to them further about the information that they had. They specifically mentioned 2 names, and they want to talk to them more about those 2 names. So they're asking that person, please recontact them so they can talk to them further. Now, hopefully that person does. After you look back to see what happened back in 91, I would make anybody nervous to contact the police when they have a confidential informant, and that confidential informant's information was found out, which is very, very rare that would ever happen. But it did happen with this police department, and I don't know the circumstances of why it happened. But if you were going to call in with information about this case, you would probably think twice before you did it, because you know what happened before. So with that, if you need a third party, you could call me, and I could take the information, and then I will pass it to the Clinton Police Department and give them that information, and I will not reveal who you are. I would be glad to help you if you are the one that called and gave them that information and you're too afraid to call them back. Please give me a call, and I will act as the go-between for you and not let anybody know who you are. I've done this before, and I'd be glad to do it again on this case. Anything that can help put a conclusion on what happened to Angela would be great. So that is the end of this case. Hopefully you'll find it sticks to you just like it did to me. I did not know about this new information until just a couple of days ago, and I think it's actually, I kind of think, as a little afterthought here, I kind of think it's I don't know why the police didn't bring this information out back in 91, that they had this information. Uh, I guess they felt that they would be able to pursue this case better without letting the public know about it. But I suppose after all these years and nothing has come from this, now they're reaching back out to the public to please come forward. And also too, enough time goes by and people pass and things change. And they feel that maybe they'll come out now because they know that the person that could cause them harm is no longer around, or enough time has gone by that they feel it's safe enough to come forward with this information. All right, and that is it, and thank you so much for watching again. See you soon.